Hello, welcome to the EP7 podcast. You are here with Rachel Donovan and the founder of EP7, Mr. George Helou.
Thanks, Rachel, and thank you for joining us. We love talking about how to get the heart into everything we do to get a lot out of life.
Whether it be relationships, business, careers, you name it. So, let's get started. To the EP7 podcast. You are here with Rachel Donovan.
And you're with George Helou. It's good to be back. Rach, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. I finished my studies now, so I'm feeling a little bit freer.
Yes. Apparently after this podcast you're going to crash in bed because it's been an exhaustive week.
It is. I'm already in my pajamas. So I'm ready to go. So it's super cozy.
They've all got a great visual now of your white pajamas with purple polka dots.
They're pink, but I got the best roommate actually. She bought me, because I was studying so hard, and she had a surprise for me a couple of weeks ago, and she bought me a brand new pair of Peter Alexander winter pajamas.
What does that even mean?
What do you mean?
Well, I don't know what that means. Peter Alexander winter pajamas.
Do you know what Peter...
Like, jeez.
It's not cryptic. Do you know Peter Alexander? The pajamas? Do you have that in Perth?
Obviously, he's a designer.
Well, they're pajamas. It's a shop, and he does pajamas and slippers, and they're all like...
Oh, a specialty shop just for that.
Yeah, just for pajamas.
Well, how about that? Okay.
Yeah, so she bought me a pair of those anyway, so that was really lovely.
Okay, cool. So that's what you're in right now.
Yeah.
Nice plug for Peter Alexander pajamas. Everybody's going to be now lining up tomorrow morning going, we want a piece of that designer pajama. Thank you very much. Rachel got us on to you. Anyway, that's enough of my antics.
Well, our topic for today is a good one. I'm looking forward to talking about it. And it's about competition and the sort of idea that, is being competitive healthy?
Yeah. Competition. What is it good for? Look, I personally like competition, but I've definitely seen the ugly side of it too. So in our conversation, let's definitely unpack it. Let's kind of get right in the middle of competition, understand why it's so popular in sport and everything.
Because it can bring out the good or bad in you. It's it can't.
Well, yeah. Well, we should explore that. So Rachel, have you personally experienced a really healthy competition in your life that brought out the best in you? Okay. No, George, I've only been a very bad sport. I can't think of not once where I was competitive in a good way.
I'm sure it has. No, I'm sure it has. I mean, I can't remember a particular example, to be honest, but I sometimes tend to shy away a bit from competition. Okay.
So what I would say to you is maybe as we explore this, maybe there's an opportunity for you to not have to shy away because you finally see a way where it can bring out the best in you and you start to see the purpose of it for a better picture, a bigger picture, All right, cool. So a lot of people, I agree with you, would shy away from competition. And I actually do remember myself looking at people being too competitive in a nasty way and completely losing interest and going, I don't need that. I don't need to try to compete against people. There's nothing good in it. It's a turn-off, actually. Is this something that was happening for you? It was a turn-off?
Me being competitive?
You shying away from it for that reason? Was it a turn-off for you?
Yeah, I tend to get too stressed. Instead of it focusing me, I tend to actually kind of... Yeah.
So the pressure doesn't bring out the best in you. It makes you flustered, maybe too stressed, and therefore mistakes. You make too many mistakes.
Yeah, I never played team sports growing up. I never played team sports. I I went into dancing and theatre and that kind of thing. And sure, that can be pretty competitive as well.
Yeah.
So, but I'm such I just want to do things for the enjoyment. And I think when things get too competitive and it becomes serious, I'm not enjoying it. And I just go, no.
Okay, that's interesting. I have played team sports and individual, and I've liked both. Team sports, there's a lot of camaraderie, a lot of bonding, and also you get to experience the beauty of people working together and achieving a lot together as a team. So there's this sense of belonging, a oneness, and it's actually quite exhilarating to feel like you're a part of something that can achieve a lot, and you find your role significant and valued in a bigger picture, so that it can be actually very rewarding.
Yeah, I've been part of those sort of team events, like say for running events, and we train as a team, and we all, you know, and you all feel you're belonging to something, the camaraderie, and you all help each other. But I mean, it's not competition against each other, like who can go the fastest. It's all just about everyone doing their best for the run.
I think there's something in that, Rach. I think competition should really always be focused on where you're at and you improving. So like your personal best doesn't have to just exist in an individual sport. It can actually exist in a team environment where, you know, for you to contribute to the team, if you're improving all the time because you keep finding ways to be better, and that improvement is in a healthy context of how you can play off your teammates better, you know, pass to them better, not drop the ball, minimize your error rate so they can depend on you more, maybe train so you're faster off the mark or your sprint now is a little faster, maybe studying the game and then being able to read it better so that your teammates benefiting from better decisions. These little individual improvements means you're growing and you're getting more satisfaction because you're giving more value to the team.
Definitely. But I guess is it more about then how we become better losers? Because when we want to win so much that we lose sight of
the true purpose.
Like cheating becomes a part of it, or it really gets, you know, fights break out, and it's kind of that fine line of, being competitive and wanting to do your best, but then people just don't want to lose so much that they're driven to do things that are negative.
Like what you were saying, like fighting or being abusive.
Or being abusive to, you know, referees or to other teammates or to players.
Do you know, I've got this negative experience when I was young. I was appointed the captain of a rugby league side at school, and I think this was only the second game, maybe the third. And I was running down the left side of the field and a very fast winger was in support of me, and I knew I didn't have the legs to go all the way. So I set him up so that as he was in the right position for me to pass, I quickly gave it to him, knowing that the guys that were catching up to me, he would already have a good running start, and he scored. But the ref blew a penalty against us because when I passed it to him and he ran past me, I stayed running in support of him in case they caught up to him and he'd have to pass it back to me, right? So remember, we've run past them and they're chasing us, right? When the ref penalised me, you see, that is completely wrong. Like I'll tell you now, 20, 30 years down the track, I can tell you that you don't penalise someone who can't see the defenders behind him and they're chasing, and coincidentally you're in their way, but it's not your job to disappear for them. It's not your job to kind of worry about them. It's your job to only focus on being in support for your player. So I turned around to the ref and said, "Oh, come on, ref. How could that be obstruction? I was just supporting my man." I was in disbelief. Right? Mind you, I think I'm 11 or 12 years of age, but I know the rules. You know, I've been playing for a few years, and I'm pleading to the ref that that's not a good decision. And he wasn't going to change his decision, and I was disappointed, but we played on. The teacher removed me as a captain because of that incident. And you see, here's the thing. I was competitive, right? I had a sense of what was right and wrong, right? And when a ref who's not perfect, you know, like no one's perfect, if he makes a decision that you feel is unjust and he saw it the wrong way, but he believed it was right, the good thing for the ref is he's got the power and we all have to do what he says anyway, regardless of whether you like the decision or not. But the bottom line was what did the teacher tell me? And this is the first time I'm actually asking this question of that experience. What is the teacher telling me about competition, about caring about what's right or wrong? It's like, no, if someone is treating you in a wrong way, if they have the power, you should just accept it and not actually speak up for yourself. That's basically what he was saying. And you know what makes it worse? If I'm the captain who's supposed to actually address the ref on behalf of and he wants to knock out that responsibility for me as well, it doesn't make sense, does it? So for me, I think that there's got to be a balance. You have to have a right to care and be competitive in a healthy way. But at the same time, you also need to keep your decency that if a ref, even if he's wrong, has made a call, you have to go with it. So, yes, I went with it, but I don't have to be happy about it. I still have a right to talk up, right? So for me, I think being competitive is healthy because what it does is it makes you care about getting better, and it makes you practice that if you have a focus to achieve a goal, whether it be score a try, shoot hoops, whatever the sport, if you are emotionally invested in an outcome and you have been set up in an environment where there's lots of obstacles like opposition players and rules of doing it in a certain way, it forces you to develop skills, to learn how to communicate better under pressure, to learn how to be resilient, how to accept setbacks, how to fail, right? Like you lost a game or you lost a point or you made a mistake on the field or at court. How to find a character in you to handle failure and be more resilient. And
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. I mean, I can see how that's true. But then when does it become unhealthy in terms of, being that really sore loser? Because, you know what, sometimes it doesn't go your way.
No, that's just,
right.
Well, that's the key question, I think, because a lot of people know how to be very competitive and care about the outcome. They get lost in the game, and that's all well and good. And the issue here is that if you find yourself not being able to let go, like you see...
Yeah, I was going to say, so these are some of the things we can look out for if we're not...
Yeah, if you're finding that you've lost a game and your mood is with you all the time, that you're in judgment and you can't let go of the mistakes you made or your players made or the ref or the unfairness of an opposition player, if you find yourself not being able to let go of that and not able to understand that life can be like that, then there's a personal growth that's needed in you to learn to better connect, and that you're losing. Like, it's one thing to be competitive to win a game. It's another thing to compete within yourself to be a better person, right? So I think that you might have walked off the field, but you're still playing the game of how to be better. And it's like, well, what is it about me that is affected so badly that I'm acting in a way that isn't professional anymore? I'm taking it too personal. I'm getting aggressive to the point where I'm trying to intimidate players. Like these are behaviors that, yes, you can put on the bravado of trying to scare, the players in an aggressive sport like rugby league or something like that, where you're trying to be tough, but the truth is, deep down, you don't care. Like, for example, you'll actually laugh and smile and shake their hand at the end because it was just trying to make them think that you're a tough guy. I get that there's room for that, but if you are genuinely out of control and you find yourself swinging, trying to hurt them physically, because, people get into fistcuffs on the field, well, that's you out of control. That's you actually deciding you're trying to physically hurt someone outside of the rules of the game. I think that's when you realize you've gone too far. Also, using language that if your own children heard you use that language, you would be embarrassed. I think that's a good sign. That's a benchmark to say, well, no, be something so that if anyone, including your children, could hear you, they'd be proud of you, of how you handled the situation. I think that would be a really good reality check. don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. So what about people that don't, maybe more like me then, that shy away from competition? Why, instead of sort of embracing that, the nature of it?
Well, you know how you were saying that you stress too much over what's going on and you can't think straight and it gets the better of you. I think that's your learning, your opportunity to develop yourself under pressure. So I actually wouldn't shy away from competition, but what I would do is just do yourself a favor and understand why you shy away. And it might be that you put too much pressure on yourself to be perfect and you're too hard on yourself. So that means you're too attached. And there's something about sport is that if you don't know how to let go of a mistake when it happens so that you can be present for the next moment and compete, then, gosh, you're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to enjoy sport at all because it gets worse. Like you make a mistake, you're pissed off, then that makes you make another mistake. Now you're even more angry. And then you make another mistake. Now your confidence is completely shattered. You're completely useless to the team. You're self-loathing and you can't wait. You feel like you want to die. It's so bad. And now I can understand. It's almost too traumatic. So shying away from sport would be a natural consequence of being too attached and not giving yourself a chance to keep it a game, but having a bit of a light heart with, damn, I didn't want to make that mistake. I'm allowed not to enjoy it. I'm allowed to express that that was not good enough for me. I don't want to make that mistake because people then know you care. So there's a sense of a healthy reaction to being down for some period, like a second or two, but then back on. And, you know, I've done a lot of assessments on people at their best in sport. And one of the things that always shows up is their ability to control their emotions. Like, in other words, they'll have a bad emotional reaction to a mistake or something, and then their ability to snap out of it and get back into that peak state is always there for them.
How do you do that? What's the... Because
you build enough perspective that the biggest mistake to make is to hold on to the mistake you make. In other words, that's the real mistake, because that compounds many mistakes. So here you are worried about one mistake and you're about to make another 10. So once you understand that the best you can do with a mistake is own it enough to leave it where it is and get back into that centered focus state, then you know, wow, you are performing well. That is the performance. Like your coach, your team, and if they want anything from you, is this ability to stay present. And see, this is what I like about sport. It simulates life. So in every way. Because if you think about when you live a whole day, where are your pressure points? Where do you feel under pressure for time and money? How do you process what to do about it? Do you dig deep? Does it bring out the best in you? Well, in sport, imagine a day is compressed into an hour because now everything's fast. Everything's happening really quick. So if you want to squeeze out where your character is, play sport. It will tell you where you're at because, you know, like with a lot less pressure over a day, you know, you're less exposed. You can, you know, you don't, there's not as much, the mistakes aren't as obvious. But on a sporting field, they're obvious. Because the purpose is so clear to defend and to, you know, maintain control of a ball and get it somewhere or whatever. So, yeah, it actually is an amazing way to develop yourself to play sport. You look like I got you thinking.
I was just thinking, like, what sport can I play?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
No, I don't think I will, but...
Come on, Rage.
I was just thinking, I obviously spend so much time doing yoga where it's all about letting go, you know, respecting where you are that day that you make, and it's sort of,
you know,
it's less about pushing yourself. And one teacher once said, you know, our job isn't to make you push on and poses. It's actually to help you let go when you can't, or rest when you need to, because you're so often pushing that it's nice to be able to be okay with doing the opposite.
Yeah, and I think that what you just said is exactly the trait that is needed in sport, because letting go when you need to is letting go of the mistake, letting go of the disappointment, letting go of all the judgment. You see, here's the thing. A mistake is because there are things you didn't realize in that moment that didn't allow you to make a decision to attract the outcome you desired. Now, a mistake under high pressure is normal in sport. And while you may have held the ball wrongly, while you were too attached when you passed the ball and you overthrew it because you weren't in that present state, yeah? At the same time, the circumstances around you is so full on and dynamic that sometimes the pressure gets so high because maybe 3 defenders are on you, their hands are all over the place, one accidentally clipped you by the heel and you're half tripping. So suddenly that mistake anyone would have made, you know? So you've got to allow for the circumstances to be extreme and sometimes realize that that's okay. There's an allowance for mistakes because that's life, and sometimes there's a perfect storm. Too many things go wrong too quick for a brain that can easily be overwhelmed for all of us. Gosh, you've got to give yourself that allowance, yeah? That's normal. But at the same time, is there anything that I can take from that situation, even if it was a perfect storm? Is there anything I can map in my head to stay calm in that storm? Because your highest potential is that you can be the calm in any storm. But you sure can be forgiven for not being that calm. But if you commit to developing yourself using storms to inform you of a landscape that has information in it that you can learn about yourself, how to be different next time around, then look at what we're doing with competition. Like we're throwing ourselves into high pressure, competitive environments so that we can learn how to be better, learn how to be greater. And because it's such quick, rapid, challenging moments, one after the other, look at the rich opportunities to know where you're at and make decisions of how you want to be different. Know where you're at again, make decisions how you want to be. Are you reading the play properly? Are you seeing where the defenders are? Are you constantly checking where your players are so that you can back them up, refer to them, pass to them? Like all these quick decisions that you're making, you're learning the balance between what's going on and what you're going to do about it. If you're too lost in what's going on and you forget what you can do about it, you miss opportunities. If you're too caught up in what you should be doing and not informed of what's going on, you're not going to be in that flow of making good decisions. So it's such a beautiful thing. And I'm a big fan of competition. However, as we were saying, you're only really ever competing against yourself. If you keep improving, you have to be comfortable in your own skin. If you're not improving, then ask yourself, am I too hard on yourself? Am I in denial? Am I not looking at what I'm doing? What else can I learn? And if you do that, then you'll always be growing. And I've got to tell you, I've never seen coaches and players worth their weight in salt or gold. Never admire someone who has that attitude and want to play with them and be proud of them being on their team. Because that humility, that ability to go, I'm going to use every opportunity to grow, that is what makes sports stars elite in their field. And even those in elite competitions, they have their down days when they're not being like that. And guess what happens to their form? They lose it. So people who are paid a lot of money lose their form. And then if they don't get a handle on what made them lose their form and they get back into that state of tuning in, they never regain their form. And you see that all the time. People fade out of an elite sport, even though they hit a purple patch long enough to be in that level. But then you've got people who end up being called immortals or legends, of the game. And that's because they were blessed with the way they were raised or the way they chose to be, and they locked it into habit, that state that I'm describing. That humble, open-minded state to go, whatever it takes for me to keep growing and developing my game and staying competitive, all bets are off. What else do I need to do differently? And that is the key to life, isn't it, really? So life is the field. And everything I just said and everything you and I discussed about sport, if you apply it to life, then you're going to compete really, really well. So what do you reckon? Game on?
Game on.
I'm being so corny right now, but I love the term game on. I had to work it in.
No, that was good.
Cool.
I think you hit that out of the park.
Good one, Rach. All right, well then, on that note, I think the bell has sounded, and that was a good innings.
Full time. Is it full time?
Yeah, good innings.
I think I better sign off before I say any more terrible jokes. Cool. Thanks, George, and thank you for listening. We hope you've enjoyed the discussion on this EP7 podcast, and we will chat to you soon.
Cool.
Thank you for joining us on another EP7 podcast. If you liked what you heard, remember to share and subscribe so you're notified of every podcast released. If you have any questions or would like to connect with us, please jump on the EP7 official Facebook page. We'd love to hear from you.